The Miami Dolphins are stacked with speed, star power, and sky-high expectations. But here is what nobody is saying out loud. This team has been burned before, hyped up by bold promises of a new culture, only to collapse when it mattered most. Now they have a quarterback who finally looks ready to lead, a superstar wide receiver who says he is locked in, and a front office gambling everything on this moment. The Dolphins say they have changed, but nobody is sure if those changes are real or just talk for another summer. If you look close, there is a new edge building on offense that feels different from past years. Tua looks sharper than ever, with a system built around timing and precision instead of backyard chaos. Tyreek Hill, after months of rumors and drama, claims he wants to stay and win with this group. They added muscle up front with big bodies to protect their playmakers, and maybe, just maybe, push past those gut-wrenching short yardage failures that killed them last December. But here is the twist. All these shiny names mean nothing if the Dolphins cannot finally fight through the cold months when it really counts. That is where the real tension sits. This team is built a Ferrari, but will it stay on the road past the warm sunshine of September? Fans are holding their breath because they have seen this movie before, and it usually ends in heartbreak. The next piece of this puzzle might be the most important of all, because a good system is nothing without a quarterback who can own the moment. So let's break down Tua's role in this so-called culture change and whether he is truly the leader Miami needs. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Dolphins and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. Nobody expected the Miami Dolphins to shift so aggressively in the trenches, but this offseason proved they finally got tired of being pushed around. After getting embarrassed in short yardage moments against physical defenses, Miami brought in road graders like James Daniels and doubled down on punishing power with rookie Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. They also landed Alexander Mattison, a running back who can hammer between the tackles, something they have missed badly in their finesse-heavy system. The message is loud and clear. Miami refuses to watch its high-flying offense stall again when winter hits. It is easy to fall in love with highlight plays and speed, but power wins playoff games, and the Dolphins might have learned that the hard way. This group was built to fly, but when defenses started punching them in the mouth last December, they had no answers. That is why they made the bold moves, sacrificing some flash for toughness, hoping these new faces can give Tua a clean pocket and create more room for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to do what they do best. Fans should pay attention to how these fresh signings change Miami's personality, especially against division rivals like the Bills who love to bully finesse teams. The shocking part is that even with these additions, there is no guarantee this group can flip the script overnight. Chemistry does not happen in a single camp, and power takes time to build. These new linemen will have to prove they can adjust to Miami's speed-focused offense without slowing it down. What nobody is talking about is how all these changes will still live or die on the man taking the snaps, because even the strongest wall means nothing if the quarterback cannot finish the job. That is where Tua's true test begins, and why his journey deserves a closer look right now. Nobody is under more pressure this year than Tua Tagovailoa, and the entire fan base knows it. For all the chatter about fresh linemen and stronger run games, everything still rides on whether Tua can finally deliver in the biggest moments. He is not a rookie anymore, and the excuses about adjusting to speed or scheme have worn thin. Tyreek Hill says Tua is the best quarterback in the league, but what nobody is talking about is how fragile that confidence can be if Tua slips into the same bad habits under pressure. The Dolphins built an attack around his quick reads and timing throws, but that only works if he stays fearless when defenders come crashing through. What might change everything is how Tua has reportedly evolved as a vocal leader behind closed doors. Stories came out that he is holding offensive linemen accountable, challenging receivers to run cleaner routes, and refusing to stay quiet after mistakes. That is a massive shift from the quiet, uncertain player who felt overshadowed when Brian Flores was still in town. The difference is night and day. Miami is betting their entire season on the idea that Tua has become the captain who can command a huddle, stand up to veterans, and lead this locker room with confidence. If he cannot hold that standard, no amount of star talent will keep this team from crumbling. But the shocking part is that even if Tua steps up as a leader, he still has to stay healthy. Everyone remembers how fragile last year became when injuries piled up. One mistimed sack or awkward fall could blow up Miami's hopes before Halloween. That is why every Dolphins fan should keep their eyes locked on Tua's poise, his durability, and his willingness to push back when the season gets ugly. And that brings us to the next piece of this story, because no quarterback can change a culture without a coach who backs him up, and McDaniel's role in all this is about to get complicated. Mike McDaniel walked into Miami with the reputation of being a player's coach, a positive voice in a league full of screamers. That energy made him a breath of fresh air, but here's what nobody expected. After a few seasons, some of those same players started to take advantage of his kindness, and the discipline in the locker room slipped. You could see it in the penalties, the mental mistakes, and the late-season collapses that have become a painful Dolphins tradition. Now the question is whether McDaniel can adjust and hold these players to a higher standard before it is too late. The Miami Dolphins defense has carried a painful label for years, and here is what nobody wants to admit. Opponents see them as talented but soft, a group that folds when conditions turn cold or the games get violent. That stigma came crashing back last year after Jordan Brooks called them out for being soft on defense in that brutal Thanksgiving loss to the Packers. Even after adding fresh pieces and stacking the roster with speed, the defense could not get off the field when it mattered most. That weakness cost them games, confidence, and maybe even their playoff future. This offseason, Miami tried to address that lingering problem by bringing in bigger, nastier linemen and resetting the attitude on defense. Kenneth Grant, the rookie from Michigan, is a massive presence who could help anchor the front. Fans are praying his rookie energy and power can inject some backbone into a defense that has been missing that old-school fight. But culture on defense goes deeper than size or stats. These players will have to change the way they respond when games get physical, because the mental side of toughness has let them down more than once. For the Miami Dolphins, true success hinges on leadership in the locker room, not just flashy plays from stars like Tua and Tyreek. Captains such as Alec Ingold, Zach Sealer, and Bradley Chubb have a critical opportunity to enforce accountability and crush the me-first attitudes that once let big-name veterans slip by unchecked, poisoning team culture. With fans and coaches demanding a united, disciplined group, these leaders must hold everyone to a higher standard or risk another collapse. The biggest question is whether the Dolphins' biggest personalities will actually accept being led, because if the locker room fractures again, Miami could fall straight back into the same ugly cycle that has haunted them for years. Every time the Dolphins hype a fresh start, history repeats. A new coach brings bold ideas, the front office makes flashy moves, and early wins build hope, only for the team to crumble when the pressure rises, leaving fans frustrated. This season feels especially fragile because if Mike McDaniel's positive, player-friendly approach fails, ownership might overcorrect with another hard-edged coach, risking a total reset that could even cost Tua his future. The stakes in 2025 go far beyond another playoff push. Breaking the cycle now could finally change the franchise's path. So here is the final challenge to every Dolphins fan out there. Do you trust this team to rewrite the story, or are you already bracing for another heartbreak? Can Tua and McDaniel break free from history, or will the same patterns drag them down again? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's see where you stand. If you believe this could be the Dolphins' year, say why, and if not, tell us what still scares you. Make sure to subscribe because we will break down every twist of this wild season, and you will not want to miss what happens next. Stay strong, stay loyal, and fins up.